Hi, guys. Welcome to the DJ Talk Show. This is DJ George Jet. I got a special guest today, and he's been in and out of the radio business for over a decade. He has been featured in many radio stations from pop, rock to NPR, and currently serves as public address announcer at South Plantation High School in Plantation, Florida. He is also blind and autistic and studying to become a radio broadcaster. His name is Bob Woodruff, but everyone calls him Dr. Bob. Hey, Dr. Bob. How you doing?
Hello, Mr. George Jet. It's a pleasure to talk to you today, and hello to all of your wonderful listeners out there.
It's nice to have you here, and I got a couple of questions to ask you because we want to know more about you.
All right, let's do it.
So first question I have for you is, why do they call you Dr. Bob?
Well, that's a name given to me by my science teacher when I became a freshman in high school, because my real name is Robert.
Okay.
But I wanted, everybody goes by Bob or Rob or something like that. So I walked into my science class on the first day of high school, and I introduced myself to my science teacher. Hi, my name is Bob. So he said, okay, how about we call you Dr. Bob? The rest is history.
I like it. How did you get into radio broadcasting?
Well, I got into radio broadcasting, if you go back to September of 2007. It's when I made a call to a radio station with a local DJ here, and I said, hey, can I come in and see the station and see how it works from the inside? And so he invited me in, and I found all of that really interesting when I got there.
Okay, and that DJ that you're referring is probably what, DJ Laz?
Yes, it is, sir. DJ Laz, back when he was at Power 96.
Wow, that's very nice. Did you ever think about other career paths?
Well, I thought I didn't really give it much thought when I was younger, but I did think about becoming a cartoon voice actor or a television news anchor, something along those lines.
Okay. Have you done any type of sports broadcasting as well? Because you have a great voice for sports.
Well, I haven't necessarily done any sports radio or television broadcasting, but I have been featured on several sports talk shows, including the ones on the Sirius satellites. I also sat in on play-by-play for the Miami Dolphins radio network back in December of 2018, and that was quite an enjoyable perspective. I got to hear it from the inside.
Nice. Now, I have heard some of your clips that you've posted in social media. How did you get a job as an announcer for your high school?
Well, the first job I got as an announcer was working in the theater at the auditorium. I actually approached my theater director on opening night of one of our shows back in November of 2014, because at the time I was just sitting there, not really doing anything, and it was opening night. So I approached him and I said, hey, are you looking for someone to do that announcer speech at the beginning of each show for you? And I told him that I would be up to do the job, and so he got me on the spot. I wasn't able to do it opening night, but I did it the next night, and I knocked it out of the park. So I've always been doing it since then. Now, when I'm referring to that curtain speech, it's basically the thing that tells everyone, good evening, welcome to the show, please turn off your phones. It's a really neat little thing I get to do at the beginning of each show, and I've enjoyed it for 5 years now.
Now, let me ask you this. I know you're legally blind, correct?
Totally blind, sir.
Totally blind. Okay. And do you find it difficult to read scripts, or how did you overcome that?
Well, because I can't actually read print, what teachers and other people would do is they would send me the copy of whatever script it is. If it is scripted, they would send it to me via email or text message, and I would have screen reading software such as Apple's VoiceOver, or on a Windows computer we have this thing called JAWS, and what it will do is it will read it back to me, and then I'll read it over several times in order to memorize what I'm supposed to say. But in some cases, if I have to do it really quickly, someone will just tell me a couple of times what it is, and then I'll be able to run with it.
So you definitely have a good memory.
Absolutely.
Let's listen into Dr. Bob's voice work right now.
Good evening, and welcome to the Paladin Playhouse and the 2017 Spring Band Concert. At this time, please take a moment to silence all cell phones, smartphones, and electronic devices. And now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the 2018 Spring Band Concert.
You have just heard a sample of Dr. Bob's voice work. Give us a little background on this.
So that was an example of what I do in the theater when I introduce those concerts. Those concerts come usually at the end of the year. What they call me at the high school there is the voice of the Paladin Playhouse, because I show up for every production, whether it's a full-on musical stage show or just a little talent contest. I'm there to introduce everything.
The way I found out about you was somebody posted that video on somebody's page on social media, and I heard your voice and I had to have you as a friend. So I have several other questions for you.
Go ahead.
Do you prefer to be an announcer or a radio personality?
You know, I've always wanted to be a radio personality. As much as I have enjoyed announcing and I will continue to announce, I've always, just to try it out, wanted to be a radio personality. I've done a couple of radio broadcasts as like a guest, but I've never actually hosted a radio show or owned a radio station, so I've never really gotten that experience of running a board, doing a full-on radio show. I've always wanted that.
Have you ever considered a career in journalism?
From time to time, yes. When I have been reporting on several local stories, I'm a big social media person, so whenever there's a local story that breaks, or if there's any weather information, like down here we have hurricanes and tropical storms, I tend to play the role of meteorologist to keep people informed about what's going on. So yeah, oftentimes I've found a career in journalism quite interesting, except there are different kinds of journalism. Trying to stay away from political stuff, because I know that I don't really I'm not the kind of person that wants to offend somebody.
That's correct.
I'm just trying to get the facts out and tell it like it is.
Have you had any DJ experience?
Well, I've had several DJ experiences, not necessarily spinning turntables, but I have been invited to play music at several events like fall festival, yard sales, garage sales, charity. I've played for the homeless, and I've done several different kinds of events, and I've enjoyed everything I've done.
But you also like music, correct?
Absolutely. Who doesn't like music?
And what is the genre that you most like?
Most of my music comes from the 20th century, more specifically the rock era, anything from the 50s to the 80s. I tend to stay away from the rap music and today's hits, but if I do have to play it, I will.
Right.
And I've never gotten a request to play a jazz gig before, so if I ever get one, I'll be totally up for it.
That would be nice, yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
So if you were given the opportunity to host your very own radio show, what kind of show would it be?
It wouldn't be a talk show, because a lot of talk shows are political. It wouldn't be a straight-up talk show, but it wouldn't be music intensive. It'd be a little bit of talking and a little bit of music. But what I would talk about is stuff that's going on in the community, like important events happening or concerts, local bands that are playing, and if there are any charity events happening, like, hey, there's a yard sale at so-and-so, come out and shop for the holidays. Or, hey, this band's going to be appearing here at this time, and it's free and open to the public. You're welcome to attend. It's kind of like serving the community, and there's going to be as much personality as there is music. Because today's radio stations, they play too much music in the morning, or they don't focus too much on the personalities behind the music.
I think you have a wonderful idea for local small town and municipalities to set up a low power radio station to send PSAs and information about the cities. That would be great.
Another thing about the radio show is I would be able to take it with me, like live broadcasts.
You could do that now, yes.
Meet the people. You know? That would be putting the fun back in radio.
Right, yeah, you can do remotes. You can do remotes, and you can also interview people in the streets. That would be nice.
I love doing that. I've always wanted to do that as a radio personality.
Well, Bob, it was a pleasure to have you here at the DJ Talk Show. We're definitely going to talk about perhaps maybe doing a little collab of a radio show or something, or maybe podcast here to the local Fort Lauderdale area or wherever it is that you live. We can figure something out. Something fun to do, right?
Absolutely. I'll be more than happy to work with you. You're a wonderful person, and I'm glad that you are where you are, and what you're doing is fantastic. Keep up the great work, my friend.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Thank you for being my guest today. It's been a pleasure to have you and wish you much success, and I hope to hear from you very, very soon.
Likewise.
This is a voice-only podcast from the DJ Talk Show. For more information, please visit thedjtalkshow.com.